The next call is a split call. Jenny Salisa, 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to take this call on this very costly and wasteful bill, the New Zealand Flag Referendums Bill. The New Zealand flag, Mr. Speaker, is significant to many of us. It is an emotional point of connection for all New Zealanders. It can be a rallying point, a unifying icon, a brand that is of benefit to Aotearoa New Zealand. However, Mr. Speaker, there is an increasing number of New Zealanders that have joined the Labour Party in opposing this bill and the expensive flag referendum processes that we are just undergoing. Many do not support the process nor the millions of dollars spent on the flag referendum. I'd also like to point out, Mr. Speaker, that the decision of what four designs actually will be put through on the referendum will not necessarily be from the consultation process. It is a decision that Cabinet will actually make. People know, Mr. Speaker, what is actually important to them. In the last few weeks, the Labour Party MPs called together a lot of people in my electorate in Otara and Manukau East for a housing meeting. Over 120 people came and attended that meeting, Mr. Speaker, on a cold, freezing, rainy Saturday afternoon in the middle of winter. Contrast this with one of the other meetings that was a flag referendum meeting held in the same electorate at Otahu, where only 34 people attended. And lest it be said that Manukau East is an anomaly here, I'd like to point out that the very first flag referendum meeting held in Takapuna, only 13 people could be bothered to attend that meeting. In total, there's been only a total of about 700 people across New Zealand that have actually turned out to public meetings on the flag project. And this is at a cost on average of about $550 each per person. However, when you take into account the exorbitant fees of the panel members, the venue hire, this amount rises to a shocking $2,300 per person.
How much?
$2,300 when you include the price of advertising. Mr. Speaker, the people of South Auckland and elsewhere have shown this government what is actually important to them by attending the forums on issues that matter to them and their families. They attended the meeting on housing in South Auckland because they are desperate to have maintenance issues on their houses fixed, their houses which are leaky, damp and mouldy, and they also attended because the rent is becoming way too expensive in our electorate. Housing is what matters to our families, not this wasteful vanity project on a flag referendum. And what's the government's solution to the housing crisis? That's right. They're proposing to sell thousands of our state houses. Mr. Speaker, I can assure you that it did not cost $2,300 per person to run our South Auckland meeting on housing. In fact, it costed the government nothing at all because the hall was free, it was a church hall, and the organisers of the meeting brought the refreshments for the meeting. Mr. Speaker, the engagement with the public on the flag has been very poor. 747 Kiwis wanted to be heard, but they were refused to be heard at the Select Committee. 43,000 signed a petition asking for a yes-no vote on the flag. They were also ignored. Already we've spent $8.4 million on this process. We should not be contemplating spending an additional $17.3 million to distract Kiwis from the Serco scandals, the appalling charter school misadministration and the continuing job losses in important industries, to name but a few. I also wanted just to address what members on the opposite side, Jono and Chris Bishop, who have actually stated what Labour's policy is on this, on the flag referendum. May I just say that we are focused on actually addressing issues that matter for our people. And the question that I ask, can we afford this expensive $26 million on a flag at this time? Has this current government produced the budget surplus that they've promised? Well, the answer is no, not yet.